Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Alessio and this is my cinema. Today, to start the first series of videos that will be related to Italy, we'll be going to analyze Bicycle Thieves or Ladri di Biciclette, which is its original title in Italian. I want to start saying that I never saw this movie, even though it's very famous outside of Italy. For example, to show you how much this movie is famous, last summer when I was waiting outside a museum in London with one of my friends, a guy from USA, I don't remember where, he stopped us and started to talking, asking from where we were coming from, and when we said from Italy, he immediately said that he liked our cinema and that he liked a lot Bicycle Thieves, but unfortunately not me or my friend have ever had the pleasure to see this movie before. I mean, at that time we didn't, so I don't know if my friend saw it now, but I sure did in order to make this review, of course. This movie is directed by Vittorio De Sica and also written by him, along with other six people, which I don't remember. And even if I would, after 20 seconds, you would have forgot pretty much all the names. And this movie it's interpreted by Lamberto Maggiorini, who plays Antonio Ricci, who is the main character of the story. Along with him, there is his son in the movie, Bruno, which is played by Enzo Staiola. Before watching this movie, I didn't know what to expect from it because many movies that are old like this, that it's from 1948, are considered a masterpiece, but not every time I did enjoy watching them because maybe it was past too much time. But that's not the case because Bicycle Thieves, no matter it's almost 70 years old, it and it is a movie that stood the test of time because it's still reliable nowadays, mostly after all this period that we have lived in with the economic crisis. Because this movie is set in an Italy after the war, which was poor, where there was no job, which is very similar to what happened in Italy, but not only here after the crisis that was explained, for example, in The Big Short. And thanks to that, we can still feel close to the story narrated in this movie, even though it's set in a complete different time because of all the things that happened to us in the recent past. But not only the story stood up after all those years, also the comedy. It's even if it's not a proper comedy because there is also a lot of drama inside it, but it's still funny after all those years, which says a lot about it. The comedy was helped a lot, in my opinion, from the fact that it was set in Rome, and people from Rome with their accent and dialect there, they're usually very funny people to talk about. They're very nice people, I think, and that's help a lot, at least for the Italian audience, because probably with the translation of the subtitles, people from you that might not be from Italy may lose a lot. Like, for example, if we would watch, I don't know, any great comedy that comes from England or USA or, for example, France, it will be, and most of the comedy it's lost with the translation process. I think that's a real pity. But fortunately, comedy it's not the most important part of this movie, even if it's really useful for the way in which the director and writers wanted to tell us this story. And this story it's about a man, Antonio Ricci, which has no job, which has problems paying everything from the food to the bill. He is helped somehow by his wife, but it's not enough. He has to find a job, and at the very beginning of the movie, he finds one, but he needs a bicycle because of this, and he doesn't has his bike anymore because he he pawned it to help the family. So his wife Maria has the idea to pawn the sheets and take back the bike so he could go to work. And because of the title, since he gets the bike, you start wondering where he will lose it. And there are some moments in which you think he is going to, but it's not going to happen yet because someone he will steal it from him. But I'm not going to tell you so much about the story after. I just want to tell you that because of all I just said, it shows perfectly how people had problems back there and how things were different. For example, there are little particulars in this movie that makes you understand, at least to us, how our society has changed. For example, there is a little scene where this part is not important. At least it wasn't at that time. Now it's more important because it shows you an aspect of Italy 70 years ago. For example, there is a scene where Antonio and his son Bruno gets to the church because they were following someone. And at the church you can see that people before the starting of the mass, they were getting a haircut or shaved before entering the church. This doesn't happen anymore. It shows how much people respected the church back then and how important was for them to attend a mass. Or for example, how people didn't tied with chains his bicycles before. But as the story progresses, you see that the bicycle it's not important. What's important is that this man has to make his family eat, that he has to bring money and that he has to do his job. And he needs this bike to do this job, but that's not the important part. That's not he searches the bike for the most part of the movie. The reason it's his family, it's his two children and his wife. He doesn't want to make them live bad as they are living at the moment. And that's what I like the most in this movie. I like his setting in particular and the attention to details, because this attention to details, I think, not just in this movie but in every movie, it helps to elevate the movie and to make it still reliable after a lot of years, even if the story might not stand up anymore. And I always try to pay attention to details when I watch the movie, and when I see something like that, it really makes me happy and it makes the movie much more beautiful. Another moment when I got that the bicycle wasn't the point anymore, it was when they were searching it in a sort of market where there are so many bikes, and I thought how we can find the bike if we don't see if they look all the same because of the absence of colors. But then I realized that the movie again wasn't about the bike, it was about them searching for a better life, not just for a simple bike, and how much they suffer for that they can't reach happiness or just a stable life, because as we know, money doesn't give happiness, but it may help a lot. And you see how much the main character evolves through the movie, how much he is getting more and more obsessed by trying to find it, because he needs the money, he needs his family to live in a better condition, and maybe let his kid go to school and not to work anymore. But as it's not about the bike, it is not as well about the money, because it is about the love that he feels for his family, that he is forced to do all he does in this movie. And you see that he gets so nervous, but in the end you understand that he can't do so much more than what he has does till now, and that's enough that he has his family, even if he would have to live not in so awesome condition as he hoped when he got the job. I don't have a lot of complaints against this movie, just minor ones which are more against the renovation that they did to make it look better after all those years. And those complaints are that sometimes the renovation it's not perfect, but I think it's due because I think it's hard to renovate a movie so old that it has almost 70 years. So it's not a big problem, even if sometimes you may see the difference from the renovated one and the original version. This problem is reflected also on the sound of the movie, which sometimes it's not completely synced with the people speaking, or some sounds are missing, like footsteps, but those are not really complaints that you can make with a masterpiece, as I would call this movie. Also, the direction, the story, or the acting has no problems to me. Just a minor scene where the father is trying to do something and he can't do that because it happened something, even if it shouldn't have happened, or at least not like that, because I don't know. The father was checking for it to don't happen, and it shouldn't have happened as it happened. And the scene it's almost at the end, like 2 minutes before it's finished. So I don't want to spoil that for you, and probably you will understand when you will see, if you haven't watched this movie. Otherwise you already know what I'm talking about. So this is it for my review, and I didn't said this in the introduction of the channel, but I will also give marks to those movies, and I think that I want to give to these movies a 10 minus, just because of the little problem with the scene and with that renovation problems, even though it doesn't for sure make the movie less of what it is. It's just an amazing movie that everyone should see, and I should have saw it before. So, if you liked the video, I hope you will tell me it with a comment. Maybe we can discuss about it. You can maybe click like if you like this video and how I talked about it. Maybe even if you don't agree, but you like the how I explained my point of view, and you may tell me in the comments why you don't think it's like that, or why do you agree, if you agree, or maybe tell me something that I didn't tell or discuss during this review. Maybe we can talk about it in the comments. So if you liked, also you may subscribe to my channel, and see you on the next video. Goodbye.